Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is definitely making the list of worst games of 2024, and while the release has been less than positive for Rocksteady and of course SweetBabyInc, fans are now leaving Suicide Squad in favor of better Batman experiences. I have a few things to show off, but before we get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, follow me on social media, and consider supporting through Patreon or via YouTube memberships. Now, I have loved the Arkhamverse up until Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. I live streamed brand new playthroughs of every single Arkhamverse game, and they were so magnificent. That is why so many people had such high expectations of Kill the Justice League, because it's set in the Arkhamverse, even though it shouldn't have been. Same characters, same voice actors, and we wanted them to do justice by those other games, but unfortunately they did the worst job possible, and now they are reaping what they sowed. They are facing the consequences of their actions because fans are leaving Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League to play the other much better Arkhamverse games. It says Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, the third person action shooter title from Rocksteady Studios, the studio behind the Batman Arkham games, has been out for nearly a week now. The game hasn't had the best launch as the fans and developers would have expected, and saw several issues in just 24 hours of its release. The developers actually had to take the early access period offline, which of course worsened players' experiences. Like, if I am paying for $100 edition of a game, and part of that is I'm supposed to have early access days in advance, and like one of those days is just wiped off the slate, that isn't okay, and that shouldn't have happened, but it did. It says, though, the game has been criticized ever since it was first announced. Yes, it most certainly has. People did not want them to continue the Arkhamverse because there was just no way they could top the ending of Arkham Knight with Nightfall Protocol. The other 4 games were near perfection. Of course, the Rocksteady that once existed that made those games was slowly replaced by, it seems, losers, people who cannot do their jobs properly. And of course, we knew pretty early on that SweetBabyInc was going to help with this game, most notably with the script writing. They helped with dialogue, they helped with banter, they helped with story beats, so it definitely seemed like they had a big part to play when it came to this game, which was just unfortunate for many of us to hear. And on top of all of that, it was a live service title, and whenever people hear live service, they instantly become turned off from a game. I know I personally hate live service games. I know many of you hate live service, so everything was really stacked against Rocksteady and this Suicide Squad game. And I've said from the beginning, if this wasn't in the Arkhamverse and they simply had some shared voice actors, but they established that it was its own universe, I don't think that the outrage would be even half of what it is, because people had such high expectations comparing it to these other games. And well, the Suicide Squad launch caused a spike in other Arkham player numbers, specifically Arkham Knight. Now, as you can see over on Steam chart, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League's all-time peak was launch day at 13,459, which definitely are not good numbers. There are games that have done significantly better in the comic book game genre. But as it says, playing 37 minutes ago was 4,335 players. And this is a Saturday, a week after launch. You would think that last weekend and this weekend would be the highest numbers. And, 4,000 people, you might think, is decent for, I guess, a week-old game release when the story is only 12 hours long. But look at Batman Arkham Knight, a game, in my opinion, that is miles better. And I know Arkham Knight had some controversial aspects, like all of the Batmobile driving. I completely understand that. It is still a fantastic game with a perfect, or at least near perfect, ending to this, quadrilogy. But as you can see, its all-time peak is 25,643, so Suicide Squad did not even get close to touching those numbers. But as of playing 38 minutes ago, the same time as Suicide Squad, it had 4,375 people playing, so it is even beating out Suicide Squad, a brand new AAA release, versus what was AAA at the time, yes, but a decade-old game. it seems that all of the people who are very disappointed in Suicide Squad and the direction that Rocksteady took have decided to migrate back to the much better games, the games that, I've got to be honest, Suicide Squad does not even come close to touching. And of course, this is, following the news that the sales have been lackluster. I did talk about them in another video, and it will be linked down below, but apparently this game is not selling well. It is, on Steam, not particularly doing well, as we can see, judging by the fact that the all-time peak was a measly 13,000 players, but also apparently the physical sales are also not doing very good. And of course, the scores for this game are terrible. Over on Metacritic, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, it is sitting at a 59 critics, so even the critics were not big fans of this title, which we all kind of expected them to shill for it since they were before release, and now after release, I really haven't seen much talk surrounding this game. And then, of course, the user scores, audiences are not pleased. A 3.8 with 1,229 user reviews. One of the lowest scores I've seen in quite a while. Of course, it's very reminiscent of Kong Skull Island's release, Golem's release, and in my opinion, hey, those games, they all suffer from one problem, which is falling under a franchise. And of course, when you hear Batman, when you hear the Justice League, when you hear Lord of the Rings and Golem, or if you even hear King Kong, you have higher expectations because of the products that came before and the cast of characters that they have. So we had very high expectations for this game. I am not going to deny it, but they did not even deliver us a half-decent experience with Suicide Squad. Never mind what we actually wanted out of this game. And of course, one of the major problems is the fact that it's Kill the Justice League. And yes, you do kill the entire Justice League in this game, and that's not a problem to me. I know that a lot of people were, kind of upset that this was just the general direction that they went in, that the Suicide Squad didn't really try to save the Justice League, but for me, it's just the disrespect to these characters, like Boomerang peeing on Flash, and then Green Lantern being stripped down to his underwear, and all the jokes they make. Oh, the Flash's finger is also cut off, which, by the way, when you actually play the game, there is the Flash, but he has all of his 10 fingers after that scene, so of course people have speculated that this is not the real Justice League. Only time will tell whenever they put out the 8 rounds of DLC that they're planning, which is absurd because, you don't actually get the full story for your $70 purchase. But I think that there is a way to kill off these characters, but being respectful and meeting fan expectations. And that's just not what they did with this game at all whatsoever. And I've got to say, I am very happy to see fans are leaving Suicide Squad in favor of better Batman experience. All of the other Arkhamverse games are near perfection. I personally love Origins. I love City. Asylum was a fantastic start. And of course, while, Arkham Knight did stumble, I do think that with Nightfall Protocol, it did stick the landing. But it will be interesting to see if any other SweetBabyInc employees or Rocksteady employees end up melting down over the fact that their game right now on the Steam charts is being beat by a decade-old game. Only time will tell. But for now, that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this, make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.